What's up, guys? We're doing it. The weekend forecast a little different. We're going live tonight. Too tired to put together the video, so live it is. It's been a long day, a lot of fish, a lot of work, but the last few days, especially yesterday and today, tons of whiting in the Neptune Beach, Jacks Beach, Ponte Vedra area, and further south. Water's gorgeous, 2 to 3 foot surf, guys. Northeast winds, 10 to 12 yesterday, and it was northeast 5 to 10 today. Tomorrow you're looking at east, northeast winds, 5 to 10 again, and then Saturday and Sunday, southeast, 5 to 12. Sometimes when we get those southeast winds, it tends to blow a little bit harder, so hopefully not. And just looking ahead, if you're gonna fish, the next 3 days look great. Monday even looks good, but coming next Tuesday, if the forecast holds, you're looking at southeast winds at 15 to 20 or possibly higher. And as we've talked before, what does that do? Dirties up the water. And with the water rapidly starting to warm south of us and in this area, what does that bring? We know what it brings: skates, sharks, and stingrays. I saw some bonnet heads caught today. We know the water's getting warmer now, guys, because there's a couple of pompano have been caught in the Jacks Beach area and in the Ponte Vedra area. And then down south, of course, they're catching them. Some 17, 18-inch pompano last few days. Some really big whiting. 3 different buddies of mine, 17-inch, 17.5-inch, and an 18.5-inch whiting. That 18.5-inch whiting would probably win just about any whiting tournament in the east coast of Florida. So get out there and fish. Today I went, fished an hour and a half, and Ponte Vedra had 38 whiting. I kept 38 and threw back about 12 or 13. Lots of fish. I was fishing a run out, not directly in the run out, but to the left of it. This was the go-to. Yeah, I know, that 18.5-inch whiting, dude, it's a beast. These little orange floats were getting destroyed today. I put the, you got the hook. These are the hooks. Let me show y'all. Eagle Claw circle hooks. I was using owner hooks, but I have switched. Those owners just weren't cut. They're almost too sharp, and it'll pull right out of the whiting's mouth if they're barely biting. So when they're getting lip hooked, I'll lose a lot of fish. These jokers here today, first time using them. They've been out a long time, I know. How bad is that I haven't used them before? But I didn't have a single fish come off that I hooked with these hooks. So you got that hook, then I put that little salmon bead on there, and then the orange float. And the reason I think the orange float is working so well, or it worked well today, we'll find out again tomorrow. What do sand fleas? The sand fleas are showing up now in Jacks Beach and in Ponte Vedra. Now, they're not in their schools yet. That's coming. Once that water hits about 67, 68, one scoop and you'll probably have enough sand fleas to fish the day. They're real scattered right now. But that orange, think about when you flip over a sand flea, what do they have underneath them? Eggs. So those fish zero in on those eggs. A few of the whiting I cleaned were full of little sand fleas, and a lot of them were full of the little donacs, the little clams in the shallows. Usually wherever you find a huge school of donacs, fish right there. Because guess what? When that wave goes out, now they dig into the sand as the wave goes out, but not all of them make it into the sand. They get washed out further. So if they're in the whiting's belly, think about how shallow those fish are eating. While we're at it, check Chip store. I believe Chip should have them in stock. Speaking of Chip, guys, this Saturday morning, Jacks Beach, we're gonna meet at the Jacksonville Beach Pier parking lot. It's a big enough parking lot. Only thing I need to check is make sure they're not charging for parking yet. I don't think they are, but if they are, we'll adjust. From 9 to 10 in the morning, we're gonna meet and we're gonna talk about surf fishing. The tide is only gonna be about an hour into outgoing, so it might be quite hard to see the sandbars. That's what I really wanted to be able to show you, but it's really hard to get together a time that works with everyone's schedule. Life gets in the way and it makes it difficult to get a low tide right when you need it. But hopefully there's been a massive run out next to the pier. And I want to show you all what to look for, because these runouts hold a lot of fish. And also, if you don't know what they are, you don't want to swim in them. So we want to keep you safe and keep you catching fish. But Chip will be there. And if you need tackle, his Bruno rigs, Sputniks, he will have some with him and be selling them. So bring your money if you need some new tackle. It'll be, you won't even have to get a delivery. You'll be putting it right in your truck and going fishing. And if you are coming and you want to fish, it's a good outgoing tide. It'll be outgoing, and low tide will be, let me check, 2:23 on Saturday. So you'll get about 3 or 4 good hours of fishing. Although Jack's Beach hasn't been producing as well as Neptune Beach, there are still fish there. So keep that in mind. It'll be fun. Get to meet everyone that's been commented on the YouTube page and on our Facebook pages. And we plan on doing these quite often with the fishing community, because right now it's whiting, but pompano will be showing up. There's some drums showing up in the surf, redfish, speckled trout will be here soon. We'd like to just show y'all little tips, things that I've learned over the years, and help you keep catching fish. Talking about tides, we got a high tomorrow at 7:33, and then the low is 1:44 in the afternoon. Saturday at the meeting, high tides at 8:14, low tides at 2:23. Then you look over on Sunday, high at 9:52, and a low at 3:59. We're going to go over too why it's important to have 10 to 12 foot rods at times. Because what I'll show you in Jack's Beach is, because it's a flat beach, at high tide, if you only have a 6 foot rod, chances are you're not reaching out far enough to catch the fish. So we'll talk about that. The water temperature, probably around 62 is what they're saying. I think it may be a little bit warmer. It felt great today. 2 days ago when I checked it out, it did not feel so great. It was actually a little stingy. What I call stingy, when you get in, you feel that little sting. But with the pompano showing up, which is interesting because usually the bluefish show up before the pompano. So if anyone out there has caught a bluefish in the Jacksonville, Ponte Vedra area, please let me know. Not that I want them here, because they're notorious for eating our floats. These things, I've caught bluefish. One time on the pier, they were eating all our live shrimp. So I took a beer can out of the trash can and cut it into strips. And I was using a float rig. I hooked the strip of the beer can on my float and threw it out and was jigging it. Caught about 10 or 12 bluefish in a row. And then about 3 or 4 other people, they went down front and bought some Coke cans or whatever they did. And they poured it out and cut them up, and they started catching them too. I wouldn't advise that because it's very sharp on the edges, but just to show you, anything silver or flashy, those bluefish can make your day quite hectic on the beach. Other than that, there was a drum caught in Jack's Beach. I know, Matt, dude, it was the craziest thing to our old buddy Leon, who passed away from cancer a few years ago. I showed him how to drum fish up there. He saw me doing it, so he started doing it, and it was quite a spectacle. There was a lot of characters on that old pier, guys. A lot of good fishermen that are still local in the Jack's Beach area. Maybe one day we'll have I'll start maybe a post a week or something about some of the stories from that pier, because especially when I was a kid, the old Jack's Beach pier and the one they're building now, man, there's some stuff that you could write a book on and maybe even make a movie. There's stuff that happens, you just wouldn't believe it. You just look in shock and think, how did that happen? But it does, and that's fishing. And thanks everyone for supporting this page and watching it. And I'm getting a lot of good reports and feedback on people who are following my advice, Chip's advice, and they're catching fish now. And that's the main goal of this page, is to help everyone catch fish. It's not fun when you go fishing and you don't catch. Everyone can get skunked, but when you know what you're doing and you have the right rigs and know where to place your bait and such, it makes that much more enjoyable. Matt, who commented, Matt Torres, met him last year. He saw some of my pictures of the sheephead I was catching and asked if I'd show him. I said, yeah, come on. You know, I don't have nothing to hide. And I showed him, and now he's catching them, and then showed him the whiting, what we're doing there. And him and his two buddies, man, they had 101 whiting on Wednesday in Jacks Beach. 101. They're there, man. You do it the right way, you're going to load up. And then he went today, caught some more, and his, I think, cousin, he had 25. So, and they're big fish. I had a lot of 15, 16-inch fish, no 18 and a half inchers. You need that 18 and a half inch for the whiting tournament. That'd be a beast. But yeah, it was a good day. I think it's going to be good. The winds look good, southeast still. The only thing if the water gets too clean, right now the water is just perfect. It's like a dark sandy green where I was in Ponte Vedra. The waves are clean but not clear. When it's super clear, I don't have the best days for whiting. Now, when it's clear like that though, let me tell you something. When the pompano are around, they go to town on those clear days. You know, they're sight feeders. I've caught a lot of pompano throwing a bucktail jig or the goofy jigs. And when we would throw them from the pier, that's how I got a 21-inch pompano one day throwing a goofy jig. When the water's clean, you're throwing it, and man, you'll see 5 or 6 come up and attack the jig. So, you know, when it's clear, chances are you're going to catch more pompano and less whiting. Those whiting, speaking of today, I saw osprey dive and get a whiting. So I'm just think about how when it's super clear, they don't really want to be in shallow because those ospreys will tear them up, and the dolphins like they were a few weeks ago. So this weekend looks good. It's east-southeast. That southeast should not clean it up too much. It should keep it, when you get that sandy green, that's my favorite colored water, that sort of dark sandy green color. Catch everything in that. And sometimes those whiting will be only 10 feet out. So you should do good this weekend. No chances of rain that I've seen. So fished the last couple hours outgoing, first couple of hours incoming, and then call it a day. You should have more than enough fish. Look for a run out. I caught all my fish in run outs today. Chip caught all his on a sandbar. And just to show you how crazy these fish are, not crazy, but Chip and Eddie were fishing within eyesight of each other. Chip caught all his fish on clam. I think clam and clamfish bites. Eddie caught all his fish on crab knuckles and never had a hit on clam. Chip never had a hit on crab knuckles. These are fish within 100 yards of each other. So what makes them not bite? Chip was on the sandbar, so you got to think that shallow area probably had more donax on it. If Eddie's fishing in a run out, those run outs will pick up any calico crabs or whatever. I think that's called calico crabs, and pull them out, and those whiting eat them. A lot of the whiting I catch during the summer, the big ones, they're either full of sand fleas or full of those little calico crabs. If I'm not saying it right, let me know, because I think they are. Redfish love them too. But if you're just tuning in, Saturday morning, Jacksonville Beach Pier parking lot. Yep, Saturday morning, Jacksonville Beach Pier parking lot, 9 to 10. I'm going to get there a little bit earlier just to check things out. And it shouldn't be too crowded that early in the morning. If we were doing it later at the tide, I would really prefer the low tide. There'd be no parking anywhere along Jacks Beach. And as we know, the further south you go, it gets really hard to find a spot in Ponte Vedra because there are already limited spots and they fill up fast. And with TPC, the golf tournament, there's not going to be any parking down there, more than likely. So if you're fishing Ponte Vedra this weekend, remember that, guys. TPC's going on, so expect delays. Today, when I was driving down Ponte Vedra Boulevard, it was a madhouse, and it wasn't very fun. Usually it's a coast down that area, but not today. But that's all I got. We'll put a post on our Facebook page as well about the meetup. If you have any questions, write them down. We're going to answer whatever you ask, and hopefully we give you the right answer that'll help you catch more fish. This was much easier to do a live edition for the forecast because when you're tired, those putting those videos together, man, it makes me sleepy. Oh, one more thing. I was talking to Roger Walker. For those in the Northeast Florida area, he is one of the hosts on the Florida Sportsman Fishing Show. We were talking about he ran into a few people on the beach whose rigs kept popping off. So I use Diamond. That's what I use. And Seaworks is another good one. But I use 25 and 30 pound leader when I'm doing these double hook rigs, guys. If you use any lighter, it'll tend to break off more often. Because when you're throwing a Sputnik or a 3 or 4 ounce weight, you're throwing it, that's a lot of tension happening on those knots. And eventually it's gonna pop. 25 and 30, you don't have that same problem. It's only 5 pound difference, because you gotta remember fluorocarbon has no stretch. So when you're using that for leader, no stretch. So when you're whipping that weight, what's gonna happen? Pop. You could use Invisalign. Roger uses, I think he said Invisalign, which is monofilament, so it does have some stretch, and so he doesn't pop off. So remember that when you're using fluorocarbon, it doesn't have stretch. So instead of using 20 for your double hook rigs, dropper rigs, use 25 pound. Hope that helps. Orange floats, Eagle Claw circle hooks. Yep, Matt, that's probably why. That 25, I stopped using 20 last year. You see me with the sheephead, I'm using that same rig with 25 and I don't lose anything unless I get hung up, and that you're gonna lose it anyways. But when you're needing to sling it out far, that 20 just ain't gonna hold up, man. It'll hold up a few times, but eventually it's gonna ping, and there goes your $4 weight to the bottom of the sea, and a fish is gonna get on it and try to drag that thing around. But these are the 2 beads. They're glow beads. Those are my 2 favorites with that orange float. I got pink beads as well, orange beads. We could open up a Michael's at my house with all the beads I have, but I pretty much, the last few weeks, these salmon colored beads. I hope he does. He makes a quality product. His rigs are great. He even makes a rig board. So you just buy the supplies and make your own rigs. That's a heck of a guy who he could just sell the rigs and not show you how to make them. But he offers both. So, and I'm going to show, I got a plan to show how to tie a dropper rig when you're on the beach. If you run out of pre-made rigs, it's a very simple. Takes me about a minute and a half to put one together. You got all the supplies out, boom, boom, boom. And I also, if I have time, I learned a new rig from my buddy David up in I think it's North Carolina. All it takes is I use a swivel. You don't even have to use a swivel if you don't want. One swivel, and all the rest is just the hooks, and you slip the weight on through the line. It's a dropper rig on top and then a Carolina rig on the bottom. It's pretty awesome, and that's the rig I used today and caught the most fish on. But that's all I got. I hope to see y'all Saturday, 9 to 10. If you can't make it, I think we have a few people who will be videoing. Matt might be live on Facebook videoing, and Mike Bennett, get out of the house and go fish. I think he's gonna be filming it. So I'm gonna have to talk really loud. Hopefully you can hear me. If not, we're gonna try to have one of these maybe once a month, because the species will, improve the next few months, and there's always new people needing to know how to fish. So if you have someone who wants to come, tell them, and we'll be there. Hope to see y'all guys there. Y'all heard that? I can't even talk right. I'm so tired. Hope to see all of you there on Saturday morning. Y'all have a good weekend.